Alright guys, just down at Anderson Creek this morning. Going to have a little bit of a play around here. More going to talk about setting up the river sluice. I've got a few cons that I'm going to run through, and then I might have a little dig here as well. See how time goes. But so as you can see, the creek sort of narrows here, then it starts widening off. It's fairly straight up ahead. Hopefully you should be able to see sort of coming around the corner there's some rocks, comes back and then comes down here and straightens up. Down further, it's curving away again. So the plan is to set the river sluice up here where it's nice and straight, get the water flowing evenly into it. So what I'll do, I'll get my little sluice and start setting that up and show you how I've set it up. Alright, so what I've firstly done is just put some rocks here on the side, put some rocks underneath the sluice as well. What you want to make sure is you clear any rocks at the bottom of the sluice, because even just having a rock at the base of the sluice there will affect it a little bit on how it flows, or how the material leaves the end of the sluice. So you want to try and have the V right in the center of the sluice, and that's pretty good. So it's meaning it's fairly level. Now I've got a bit of angle on it. It's a bit hard to tell how much angle on there, but there's quite a bit of angle there. And then before you run any of, this is what I've got is the cons here. Some of it's fairly big. I'll classify that down a little bit. You just want to get a handful of some lighter stuff like this and just slowly feed it into the sluice. And see how it's acting. Now they're all heavier ironstone, so you should be able to see that they're moving around. The cells are quite active. Probably not clearing as well as I'd like, so I'll just try and see if I put in a couple more rocks in. Now obviously I could get some dirt and stuff like that and really dam this up, but I don't think I should need to do that at this stage. What I'll do is I'll just stop recording for a second. I'll just put a bit more angle on and see if that helps clearing the sluice out. Okay, put a little bit more angle on, seems to help. Cells are still quite active and it's just got the heavier material now stuck in the sluice itself. What I'll do is I'll classify some of this material and feed it through and see how we go. Alright, just classified down some material, just with the larger one of these metal classifiers, so it's the larger hole one rather than the small one. I'll just slowly feed in. Now these cons are from a few of my trips, so it's going to be pretty much full of black sand and some gems. But I've been having them sit there and haven't gone through them properly, and I haven't had the time as well to do it. So I thought that's what I'd do today. Got a busy week ahead. So not surprisingly, they're filling the cells up and eventually working their way down. I'll let that sit there for a little while before I feed anymore. Just get all the heavies right down. And then I'll feed some more in there. But as I said, this is all concentrates from probably about 5 or 6 trips that I've just had there that I haven't gone through, and it's got to the point where I'm going, you know, what am I keeping this stuff for? Might as well just do a clean out, and if I lose some colour in the creek, then I'll lose some colour in the creek, no big deal. Just getting rid of your accumulation. But we'll see how we go, and I'll keep feeding this through and get through this, and then we'll see what's left behind. Right, just to explain sort of what's going on here. You can see like there's a lot of black material left in the sluice. So what I'll do is I'll just put this one scoop through. What you'll see is the lighter sort of stuff. Slowly you'll see the lighter material start vanishing. The lighter stuff will start working, these larger, lighter rocks just keep working through and get to the bottom of the sluice. The heavier rock and material will sink down and get right down into those cells. And what's getting left there is the heavier rock and the black sand. And hopefully some gold. Now there should be some gold there. This is the stuff that it's just a bugger to pan, and I've just got to the point where I'm just keeping it. I'm going, you know what, this is crazy. But yeah, so that's what's going on. I'll keep going with this material, keep classifying it down, feed it through, and see what happens. Alright guys, what I decided to do, I'm just letting that just clear out for now. So I've actually dug here before, along here, even over there at the bedrock, and I've just seen this pile here starting to form. So what I've decided to do is have a little crack just here. So I've pretty much just filled, not classified, nothing. I've got the Garrett Super Sluice, so don't really need to classify too much there. So what I've done is I've just dug a hole right there. So you can see right here, where it's sort of that grey area there. So fill my pan up, just, you know, while I'm waiting, I've got to do something. And should be able to see there's 2 little bits there. There was another bit somewhere here. I'll probably just washed it back when I was putting the pan down. Yeah, 2 tiny little bits of gold. Nothing exciting, but you know, something to pass the time while I wait for the sluice to clean out. About probably a good half an hour to clear out, and then I'll yeah, go from there. I'll do a few more pans here. Might even do one with the yabby pump now and see what happens. Alright, done about 4 pans. Nothing exciting. A lot of tiny gold, more than anything. The funny thing is, I don't know what it is here, but once you get that gold out of the water, starts going silver. So it's still gold, but it's starting to get a tinge of silver. Some of it's gone silver totally. So it must be mercury or something, I don't know. I can't have got mercury in my snuffer bottle or something. I don't use this stuff, so I think it's from here. Don't know what the go is there. I'll just suck that stuff up. Nothing exciting. So in that time I've just been letting this sluice run. What I'll do is I'll pull the sluice out and see if there's any colour in there. I know there is. I can see a piece. Now I'm going to try and show you. But right there, should be able to make out. Little fleck of gold. I'll clean this little sluice out and see what happens. Don't expect anything too exciting. It's all going to be really, really fine gold. But we'll see what happens. I thought just before I actually do clean the mat out, I'll be able to show you a bit of colour in the mat. So right up the top here. Most of the lettering's got gold. There's a few more bits up here as we go down to those first cells. Hopefully in the bottom of the cells you can see there's a bit right at the bottom there with a lead shot, a couple of lead shots there, and then right next to that lead shot in the cell there's a bit of gold. There's a bit more there. I'm sort of not trying to look through the phone. Oh, there's another bit right up there. So I didn't show that bit there, right there. It's a bit of gold. Yeah, I'm trying to look at the mat rather than the phone, so there's all gold in there. Obviously in that cell, I might lift this up a bit. It's probably better. I'll go down this side first. See if we can spot anything. And I'll go back up to the top and do the other few cells. So we've seen that with the lead, the bit there. So there's some garnets and stuff in there. So as you can see, most of the rocks in there are heavy. I don't know if that's a fleck of gold down the bottom there. That's the very last cell. But yeah, so there's a little bit of colour. Nothing exciting. As I said, I didn't expect there to be anything exciting. I'll clean this mat out and we'll see how much I can reveal. I've just had to move to get into a bit better light, and just as I did, it clouded over. But hopefully you'll be able to see the gold there. It's showing up a bit better here than it was. There's some lead shots and stuff over here. Some little bits of gold starting to show through the black sand. I've washed some down here as well. Right there. There's some down. That'll be right. Nice reflection. Put some of that water out. There's some down here as well. Little bits down there. Quite a fair bit in there that you should be able to see now. Heaps in the black sand. Run out of patience and run out of time today. But at least my concentrates now are reduced to what you see there rather than what you've seen in that bucket. And there was some larger rocks in there. I just got rid of everything that I had there at home. Yeah, so obviously, you know, you want to set your sluice up somewhere in a straight line. Sometimes I sort of set it up all over the joint. It's not the best of ideas, not the best way to do things. Didn't really do too much today, just did 4 pans out of here. Got a few specks. I wasn't expecting to get much where I was. I was just more looking for somewhere where I could run these cons. Going to be planning another trip again next month. At this stage, I'm considering going up to El Dorado. It is a bit of a hike up to Reedy Creek there, but and the gold's not big, you know, it's just flower gold, but you get a bit of it. You get gold every pan sort of thing. It was a bit frustrating on Saturday. Things just did not go to plan at all. I first turned up and there was a few guys down there riding motorbikes and stuff, camping out. And where I planned when I first got there to try, I didn't get to do. And then waited a few hours for Muhammad to turn up. We went back to the spot from the first trip, and at the start, when I did probably about a 60 shovel run, if not a bit more, I was getting some really nice colour. I pulled out some large flat rocks that I suspect were acting as a bit of a false bottom, and once I got through that, I started not getting anywhere close to what I did in the first run. So then I spent an hour and a half upstream checking for places, but by that stage I was a bit rattled and a bit tired. I'd finished night shift that night at about 1 o'clock and don't get home till just after 2, so probably went to bed at about 2:30 and got up at 5, got ready and started heading off. So it wasn't a lot of sleep, and the motivation to dig deep and when I was testing and all the rest of it wasn't there. I then come back, had another little go, didn't have much luck. I left that area and then went looking and scouting around for some other spots. More just looking at places to get into rather than doing any tests. So I went onto a few tracks and roads and had a look at some other spots in the creek. You know, I should have probably tested that day, but I didn't. I don't know, a bit rattled. And then I come back and the guys that were camping there were leaving. So I did just play around there at the end of the day and dug a little hole and got a few specks. But I was glad Muhammad got a bit of gold, more than his first trip out there. But thought maybe for the next trip I'll go somewhere else, and I'm just thinking Reedy Creek only because I've been there a few times. I've always come home with some colour. It's very fine, but you know, even if you were to come out and do some panning, you're going to get something. There's a massive long stretch along there where you're allowed to prospect, so that'll probably be the next trip next month. At this stage I don't know when. I'll announce that probably, because I can get a 10-day sort of forecast. I'll probably announce it 10 days before. Might be earlier in the month. I might not even give you 10 days. I'm not going to be around for a week or so after this week, and got something on, so maybe when I get back I'll have a look at the forecast and see, and might be the weekend after that, maybe the first week of September. But we'll see what happens. Hope you're enjoying this stuff. If you've got any suggestions of maybe where to head out, or everything I'm doing wrong. But yeah, until the next time, I'll see you all later.